You want me to check on my phone? It looks like it's the best good looking. I believe you. Okay, great. You good? It's slightly delayed, I think.
Yeah.
Which is really throwing me off. Go back to the Zoom meeting. So Ken's just doing a document, so if you want to start the reading, then it should be okay. Okay, it's not 9:30 yet. What? It is? I'm kidding. Good morning, everybody. Calling this meeting to order. We'll start with a moment of reflection. We are at item 3, confirmation of the agenda. I have a recommendation that the council agenda dated February 3rd, 2026 be approved as circulated. Moved by.
Sorry, so I did add Councillor Martin's Roma report on Friday, so we could just amend it for that.
Okay, so council agenda dated February 3rd, 2026 with the inclusion of Councillor Martin's Rona report. There was also an additional added, right, the request for the games today.
That was on the original. That was on the original.
That's it, though. Yeah, all right.
There was only one addition.
Okay. So as amended, moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, seconded by Councillor Corby. All those in favor? Carried. We are at 4, declaration of pecuniary interest. Does anybody have anything? Councillor Jeff Bell?
8.3.C. I got a street light right outside of it anyway, so.
Okay. He says he's gonna declare pecuniary interest. Was it affected? Oh. Well, I didn't have any problem with me. I have to go back in. Okay. I'll catch you after. Okay. Anybody else? Seeing none, there's no closed session to report. And we are on to item 6, consent agenda. Would anybody like to see anything pulled from 6.1 to 6.17? Councillor Marco?
6.12, I'd just like to have a letter of support. You want to talk about it now, or you want to?
Sure.
So this started in the city of Welland. It's a protection of Canadian children. I mean, I don't need to get into the weeds of it, but I think it's important that we protect our youth. So I would write a letter of support to advocate with to go along with the town of Melbourne.
Okay. Would anybody else like to comment on that? Do you need does he need a motion?
It would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're writing a letter of support.
Please.
Moved by Councillor Mark Bell, seconded by Councillor Jeff Bell. All those in favor? Any discussion? All carried. And anything else? No, we are moving to public meetings, hearings, and village meetings. The consent agenda 6.1 to 6.17 be received for information and that the regular council minutes of January 13, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Vanessa. All those in favor? All those in favor? I got up at 5:30. Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Okay, we're at 7.1, public meetings. And the recommendation that the council meeting be adjourned at 9:53 a.m. in order to convene a public meeting pursuant to section 34 of the Planning Act concerning an application for zoning bylaw amendment for the property located at 565596 in the township of Perth South. Moved by Councillor Corby, second by Councillor Martha. All those in favor, opposed, carried. And we then are moving into. This is an application for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment to satisfy condition 6 of consent of application B 46/25. The application is submitted by Dale Farms, Leroy Bryan, and for property described as Park Lot 9, Concession 7, Blanchard Ward. And I will now ask the clerk to advise and confirm of the method and date of the notice given for this meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Orr. Notice was circulated by regular mail and is live and posted on the property as of January 14th, 2026. As required under the provisions of the Planning Act, as well as being posted on the township website.
I will now ask Haley Helena, planner, to provide an overview of the application. The floor is yours, Haley.
Good morning, Mayor and Councilors. I'll be presenting zoning bylaw amendment 9-25 for lands municipally known as 5655, line 6 in the township of Perth. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located on the south side of line 6 and surrounding properties are primarily used for agricultural purposes. The subject property is designated as agriculture in the county official plan and zoned agricultural in the Perth South zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. The subject application is required to satisfy a condition of consent application B 46/25, which received the conditional approval in December of 2025 by Perth County to sever a surplus farm dwelling as a result of the consolidation of the remnant agricultural lands with an existing agricultural operation. The subject application proposes to rezone the severed lands from agricultural zone to special agricultural zone A-1 to permit the existing residential use and accessory uses. The application also proposes to rezone the retained lands from agricultural zone to special agricultural zone A-3 to prohibit any new residential development on the agricultural lands. In light of the foregoing, it is the opinion of staff that the zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with the county Perth official plan. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Haley? Does the applicant or their agent wish to provide any additional information? Seeing none, I will now ask the clerk to provide any comments received from the circulating agencies and landowners.
And thank you, Mayor Orr. No comments were received.
Is there any person in attendance who wishes to make any comments regarding the application? All persons are to state their name and address for the minutes. Seeing none, do any council members have any questions? Does the applicant wish to respond to any comments? Seeing there's none. Thank you to all those in attendance for your input, and council will consider all the comments received when making final decision on the application. We now adjourn this public meeting and reconvene in the regular meeting. Moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Costello. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we are going to move right into the. Okay, this is, I don't need to do this one. Okay. Recommendation that the township as the council receive the report dated February 3rd, 2026, entitled zoning bylaw amendment Z9/2025, submitted by Brydale Farms, co-owners Leroy and April Bryan, affecting lands described as concession 7, part lot 9, municipally known as 5655 line 6, and that the township of Perth South Council approves zoning bylaw amendment Z9/2025. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, second by Councillor Finesse. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you, David. Okay, we're at 7.2, the consideration of a drain report for the letter and drain and branches. I'll second the butter. Who made that? We're having a bad morning here, Brandon. I usually have a script that I read from, so I don't have time to even read. So, sorry, my fault. We are going to move in to the drain report. Why not? The floor is yours.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Today we have a new drain for Burke South. This is section 4, so it's a brand new project. It's tributary to another drain that's was completed called the Thompson Drain. This is an open ditch. So this drain is on line 4 on the far end of the township near Road 161. So we received a request from the flooders who own a number of properties on this road, as well as received a request from the upstream owner, Mr. Thompson. So this essentially is there's a handful of landowners here. To be honest, they were all in attendance, or we've talked to all of them during the process. This was a project from last fall. And this was the first report issued this year from our office. Again, tributary to an open ditch, which is on the north side of the road. We are proposing a new tile drain that runs up to line 4. Across line 4 into the Flutter farm, across both their farms into the Thompson farm, as well as there is 3 branches, A, B, and C, to help serve some drainage on the east side of the watershed for Mr. Thompson, as well as along the road. This is an 1.5 inch design drain. Again, it starts with 21-inch tile, ends at a 10-inch tile, and some of the branches are smaller at 8s. It's approximately 2,400 meters of pipe is included. From a roads perspective, so currently there's a 30-inch CS underneath line 4. We're going to slip line it to avoid open cutting it. So the road is approximately 4 meters deep in that location. So we're going to slip line the existing surface culvert as well as bore the road underneath, and then grab the existing subsurface basins on each side. That's where the road assessment's being driven from. Total cost of the project is $281,000. But I'm happy to answer any questions if there is any.
Any questions for Brandon? Do the landowners have any questions for Brandon? Some are in attendance.
There should be one on each side of it. Or more on the side.
I'm seeing no questions for Brandon. No discussion happening? Oh, Councilor Vanessa.
Just a question there, Brandon. Can you explain the board assessment and the special assessments?
So it should be 2. If I turn the right page. So there's 2, so we have a slip lining. So the first one is the bore underneath. So this is a regular drain bore. The cost of work is about 20,000. There's some admin. There's a credit for if the road, we call it less equivalent, which would be the cost of concrete tile across the road. So that's about $23,000. Then when we were out there, Mr. Bettles was there at the meeting as well. We looked at the existing, there's a 30-inch surface pipe under the road. I would say it's at probably got 6 to 10 years left at its most before it's completely gone. We do have a cost in there of slip lining that culvert, which is about 16 grand. So those are the 2 specials. Now, nice thing with specials is you pay actual costs. So if they come in cheaper, the township reaps the savings. Comes in more, the opposite happens. Those are realistic prices. The problem you guys have is the last 4 we did on line 4 was last fall. I can tell you it wasn't super successful.
A lot of stones.
Yes, a lot of stones. It was very hard to machine. The bore went through, but this area is rocky.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Brandon? Okay, so here I have a recommendation that the report for the flooded drain branches are prepared by Brandon Widner of Street Associates in accordance with section 42 of the Land Act be received and adopted. Moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, second by Councillor Mark Bell. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And now we're going to talk about dates for the Court of Revision. Brandon, do you have any in mind?
No, usually it was at
Hi.
pre-warns me. I'm not pre-warned, so no, I don't have any.
Do you want to move it quicker for the 17th or do you March 3rd? Okay.
So the 17th is an evening meeting. And then the next meeting after that is another day meeting on.
We can probably do either or, it's the.
It would depend how quickly well, we don't have to have the tender out before the code revision. Correct?
I can't do Tuesday evening.
Okay, so March 3rd is, if that's okay.
Great.
One thing I will say is, yes, we haven't had so many drains going in the last couple of months. There is a drain coming out for tender almost the exact same time on 23 in Lucanville. So obviously these projects will be very close together, so that should help pricing. Because it's February 17th, the quarter revision for that drain. And it's just on Highway 23 down the road here.
Okay. Okay, I have a resolution with the Board of Revision for the flooded drain and branches be set for March 3rd. And that the drainage engineer be authorized to call for tenders with the closing date of. Oh, I have to go back.
You want it Friday before that? Okay.
No, because our agenda, oh yeah, we can do it Friday before, because we won't do it as an open. Because of the code revision,
So that's the 27th.
yes.
Okay, so February 27th. Moved by Councilor Vanessa, second by Councilor Forview, all those in favor, any opposed, carried. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just realized that's the tribunal hearing dates. Oh,
That's
no, we'll
like
figure it out.
10, right?
I usually open the tenders. It's all good.
You'll
Never
have
mind.
time.
Never mind.
Definitely no time. All right,
You'll be looking for things to do with it.
thanks, Brent. All right, we're moving on to 7.3. We have the building condition assessment, Zach Salmon from ADSI. He's coming online, I believe. All right. Thank you for coming, everyone.
You Grant.
Oh, can anybody hear me?
Oh, I can kind of hear him. Zach, can you,
Speaking through this.
speak again?
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Very faintly, so we're just trying to get the speaker to go through the owl.
Okay.
Do you want to try again?
Yeah. Anybody can hear me now?
Where's the sound coming from?
Oh, here.
Is it coming from the computer?
It should, that's help.
Okay.
I think it's coming from the computer. Can you try again?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello?
No.
Hello? Can, let me know when you can hear me, please.
Yeah. See where it says on the microphone.
Hello?
We're just testing the speakers again so that we can hear you better.
Okay.
There you are. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Thank you. All right, Zach, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. If you can please put the presentation on the board. Let me know when you can see the presentation.
Okay, we can see your presentation.
Perfect. Okay. Good morning. This is a presentation for the building condition assessment we conducted in 2025 for 18 building. First of all, next slide, please. So just gonna talk briefly about the building condition assessment, what's that and why we're doing it, and what it's covered in terms of component for the building, and how we do the condition grading. Once we're done with reports, so we are able to create a FCI, which is Facility Condition Index. We'll talk about how we come up with the FCI and how it's calculated, and what it gives in terms of information, how it reflects like a condition of the building, and help the decision maker decide about specific building, what to do with them, keep maintaining them, or no point maintaining them, and so on and so forth. We look at accessibility in general. We did the accessibility review for each public building. And then we have the Downey Optimist as a sample for accessibility kind of review. We also look at the mechanical asset at Downey as well. And we will show a summary and what to do next. Next slide, please. So building condition assessment, it's a proactive and strategic approach to understanding the state and condition of municipal asset and facilities. It's an essential tool for ensuring these assets remain in state of good repair, supporting the effective delivery of services to the community. Next slide, please. So why are we doing it? So obviously there's regulation, and every municipality has to meet this asset management plans regulation, Ontario Regulation 58817, to ensure compliance, accountability, and transparency. We do it as well, and we used to do it even before the regulation came, just to make sure that the buildings are maintained well, and they keep serving the public as needed. It assesses the risk for any facility, that technically, if we don't do this, what happened and what the risk. So, for example, if you have a roof leak, that if you don't repair the roof, what can happen? Eventually, it may happen to may lead to shutting down the facility or disturb the service for the public. Cost optimization. So it look at each component technically, whether it's performing as needed, or is performing better than expected, or also if not performing as it should be. It helps the decision maker to make an informed decision based on the repair needed, prioritization of repair, and so on. It maximizing value for taxpayer, ensure the service is not interrupted. Sustainability, so the longer we can keep a building, that is the sustainability. So the longer they can keep the building in good repair, the longer it serves the public, and at the long run, it saves money as well. So community impact, it builds public trust, improve safety, as I said, and enhance resident quality of life. Next slide, please. So building condition assessment, it looks at pretty much every component of the building. We start with the substructure, means foundation, concrete decks, roof decks, ceiling decks, all that, basement walls where applicable. The shell, which we call the envelope, that's obviously the roof, the walls, windows, and doors. Interior, we look at flooring, partition, washroom facilities, stairways, and so. So services, as obviously cover plumbing, toilet, sinks, urinal, everything, HVAC, rooftop unit, air conditioning, heating, electrical equipment, electrical supply, and main panels, and lighting. Fire protection in terms of fire alarm panels, smoke detector, heat detector, any fire protection for the building. Equipment and furnishing, that usually cover appliances, kitchen appliances, in terms of pavilion, the concession equipment in general. Special construction usually look at if a building need to be demolished or what need to be done. Also look what we did. Also part of this assessment. I should have mentioned that earlier that we did designated substances studies for the building that that we suspect they will have any designated substances such as asbestos, lead, mold, or any other material that can be harmful to public and staff. So site work, we look at landscaping, parking lots, the drainage in the parking lot, building signage, walkway, approach to the building for the accessibility, and main power coming to the building, and as well as water wells and septic systems. Next slide, please. So the criteria, as I mentioned, so we calculate the FCI. So the FCI, we'll see that in the next slide. The FCI is technically look at the repair needed and improvement needed in the first 5 years. And the reason it's 5 years because usually building condition assessment is recommended to be done every 5 years. So it look at first 5 years what need to be done in terms of repair, improvement, enhancement, and we divide on the total cost of the building, and that give us the FCI. And now based on the percentage that we get, if we get something up to 5%, that's good. Up to 10%, now we're in the fair. Between 11 and 30, the building considered in overall poor condition, and greater than 30, this means the building is very poor. Now, I gotta mention here that let's say large building and we have a roof that costs a couple $100,000. So that obviously will show right away the FCI is poor or very poor. But as soon as we replace this roof, the building right away, excuse me, the building criteria right away improve. So based on state of good repair means keep maintaining the building at all time. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, what the FCI and how we do it. So in this case, we did the cost in anything need to be done in between 2026 and 2030. And we divide by total replacement cost of the building and how and multiply by 100. How we come up with total replacement cost? The way we do building condition assessment, we are very thorough. So we pretty much list every component in the building, including foundation, including slab on grade, which is some people will say like you're not replacing slab on grade. That's correct. You replace slab on grade and foundation only if you demolish the building. So, but we calculate all this, we quantify it in order for us to get the costing. Now we know how much it costs to replace this building, i.e. is to rebuild another building with similar kind of like function. So obviously low FCI value means the building is in good condition. The higher the FCI, it show poor, fair, or very poor. Next slide, please. So again, this is what explained in the chart. It's 0 to 5 good, 6 to 10, 11 30, and more than 30 is very poor. Next slide, please. So here as I mentioned, that's what building condition assessment is. We're looking at infrastructure condition and maintenance. So based on the 18 facilities that we review, we have 2 community hall, 2 fire hall, 4 utility building, storage facility, 2 pavilion, 2 playground, 2 outdoor facility, and recreation facility, and 2 offices. Slide, please.
Zach, can you speak up a bit?
Sorry?
Can you speak up a bit?
I can't hear you clearly, sorry.
Can you just speak a little louder?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the list of the building we did. There were, as I said, 2 community halls, 2 offices, 1 recreation facility, 2 outdoor facility, 2 playground, 2 pavilion, 1 storage facility, 4 utility building, and 2 fire hall. So next slide, please. So based on these 18 facilities that we reviewed, we determined, and based on FCI, that they are 22% are in good condition, 27 are in fair, 33% in poor condition, 16.67 very poor. And I gotta say that before anybody kind of like take any impression that this is it's aligned with what we've been doing for other municipalities in a small community. This is what usually find. Like the percentage here is kind of aligned with what we usually find. We usually find like close to half of like 50% of the facilities are in poor or very poor condition. So it's not something like to be alarmed or something like unusual. This is what we've been seeing in the last 10 years, I would say. Next slide, please. So here we determine, this is just an example. This are the buildings that in good condition based on the FCI, and you see the FCI here 4.6%, 3.4%, 5.4, and 0.3. So this is the municipal offices, the Downey Community Center, the Recreation Pavilion and Canteen, and the agricultural building. That's a new agricultural building. So we go next slide, please. We're gonna show the fair. So these are buildings that were in fair condition. Former municipal office, drinking water building, office structure per south, landfill, the fire station at Springville, and the fire hall at Bidef Blanchard. Next slide, please. So now we are to the building that in poor condition, mainly the public work buildings, the pavilion that at Kirkton, the pool house at Kirkton as well, and the community center. Now, the reason why the community center and made it to the poor, not fair, because the roof, as you see in the first 2 years, we anticipating $260,000 because of the roof. The roof is older and is in poor condition. The former architectural building, this is like a older building with minimum maintenance. And the other public work was the Quonset. Obviously, the Quonset did not help this section because the Quonset is from 50s and it's really in very poor condition. Next slide, please. So the very poor, there's only 3 here. The Quonset I will start with. It's a building from 50s. They have old roof and with rust and deterioration. Even the slab inside, there's no slab inside actually. It's sitting just on the dirt, and there's cracking on the foundation wall. The reason the playground, both of them made it to very poor, mainly is the flooring. So the playground currently they don't have any protective flooring. And the new standard now, mostly we go with rubberized flooring for protection for kids. And as well the equipment, playground equipment get outdated very fast. The standard keep changing, the legislation. So even if the equipment may look not bad, but they're outdated, technically speaking. So that's the reason why they made also very full. And this flooring that I'm talking about, they're not cheap. They're expensive flooring that they go pour in one shot. So there are obviously alternative material to that, but we just price what the best standard here. Next slide, please. So here, just example now is why this building made it to poor or very poor. So here the playground, as you see, the equipment basically and rubberized flooring. So that's what these categories that require the money. Next one, please. So the Quonset here, as I mentioned, the concrete slab need work and the roofing. These are the major costs here. There's no concrete on this building; it's just sitting on dirt. Next slide, please. The second playground, pretty much same thing. The flooring, the equipment is a little bit newer, but the flooring need attention. Because just dirt there. Next slide, please. So the one in poor condition, the public work, the newer section is just wood deck, and wood decking is not up to standard in for the ceiling in public work. Public work building need to be fire rated. Usually they have a fire rated gypsum board or metal panel ceiling. So this is kind of higher, as you see here, there's a higher cost for interior walls. The slab also has lots of cracking and deterioration, so that's also superstructure. So these are the main two costs, and eventually the overhead door as well will come into need to be replacement. Next slide, please. The pavilion at Crichton is pretty much was built and not much money spent on it since then. So it requires quite a few improvement. Part of it is a suppression system. So there's a kitchen there with propane, and there's no suppression system. So this needs to be improved. There's quite a few items actually need to be done in this building. It needs like a major renovation. Next slide, please. The pool house, the equipment, the sand filters are getting older. The pool itself, the decking is not waterproofed, so just painted concrete. So the standard is to waterproofing, so we won't have many water infiltration to the underground and meet the current standard to be waterproof. The decking as well around it needs some attention and repairs. The accessibility need work on this building as well. That's mainly the items here. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, the community center in general, the major cost is roofing. The HVAC equipment is as well has refrigerant, what we call it R22, the old Freon, which is no longer accepted in the industry, and the unit itself is aging as well. So there's quite a few HVAC work need to be done here, and the main cost is the roofing, and there's some fixture as well. Accessibility upgrade, there's accessibility improvement there, but need more upgrade. Next slide, please. The former agricultural building is it's very old, and despite I don't know if it has any heritage value or not, needs some work. So these columns are wood columns. They're sagging. They're not holding the building as it should. So this building either need major work or need to be taken care of. Next slide, please. This public work, as I mentioned, the Quonset is kind of like taking it to the pool section. The Quonset roof need work. The decking inside, the wall actually at the back has been hit by tractors multiple times with some repairs done. They are the new now salt dome and sand dome. They look way different than that, and they have concrete walls inside to protect from tractor movement and operation. As well, the structure, the roof is get hit a couple times with tractor with some repair done, but these are all wood structure that start to get deteriorated and need attention in the short term. Next slide, please. So this is what we said. We did some accessibility review for Downey Optimist. So you have barrier-free parking stalls, parking spot outside, the barrier-free washroom inside, and with all the barrier-free sink, inclined mirrors, barrier-free door, main entrance. The small upgrade needed still is grab bars to meet current code, which is L-shaped grab bars in the washroom. The urinal need also a grab bar and need to be adjusted in the height. Their stairway with handrail that do not comply with AODA because there's a second floor there, and some doors as well need power operator to be accessible. Next slide, please. So here, just a sample how our Excel work, Excel sheet. This is obviously was done as part of asset management program. So you have asset management program in place that take our Excel and upload it. So it create reports for you and can summarize work for you, combine work. Let's say you need to do window replacement on one building and window replacement on the other building. So combining project can lead to cost saving in same type, same like that apply to roofing, to HVAC, any other project that you combine in different location, same scope. So this is what we create. We look at each component when we think it was installed, how long it should last, when it need to be replaced, and if there is any if it lasts longer than normal, we'll adjust that so to push it further, or vice versa. If a component is not aging well, we shorten the life to be replaced earlier. It's every component. It tell you where it's located, what's the condition of it. Whether it's good or fair or poor condition overall, and how much money need to be spent now or in the future in the next 25 years. So this cover 25 years pretty much. Next slide, please. So the summary, as I mentioned, from with the graph that we have 22% good, 27 fair, 33 poor, and 16. That's based on the FCI calculation. Next slide, please. So next step, where we go from here. So you look at our reports, our report, and what we asking for work to be done, and look at each building based on FCI, how we can bring all this building to good condition, or whether some building need worth spending money on them or not. That's decision we usually don't take and don't make. Sorry, that we'll leave it for you to do that. Next slide, please. I think that's the end of it. So yeah, happy to answer any question. I know this is a lot of information. I'm not sure if you have time to review this report before or not, but I'm happy to answer any question to the best of my knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. I have your questions. Just also wanted to point out that this has to also go over to the Perth meeting because we do share that facility. So, and this is probably one of a few reports that are going to come, but this is our first look at it. It's an overwhelming report if you looked at it all at once, but we're gonna go through this piece by piece. Questions for Zach? One, Dr. Vanessa?
Yeah, I guess first question, Zach, could we go to page 15? And, yeah, page 15, 14, doesn't matter. Which one's that? What is that, just, facilities, very cool rating.
These are the playground, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to number 10, the ones at Barn, Zach, could you go across and explain those numbers to me?
So the 750 is obviously the square footage of the building. The 430,000 is if you want to rebuild the building with similar kind of function. That would we think it costs 430,000. We anticipating you need to spend 340,000 in the first 10 years to make it in state of good repair. Hence why it get the very poor condition, because now you're spending 75% of the cost of that building in the first 10 to keep it running. So the ones obviously that's 341 is the first for the 10 years. So the cost in 2026 and repair needed now is 173,000, and in 2027 is 13,000. So and then we have here obviously the first 2 years we adding the 173 and 13. In the 3 to 5 we're not doing anything because most of things are needed now. That's why nothing in the next 3 to 5. But then in the 6 to 10 another 154. So if you're adding this 154 to 187, you get the 341. But 187 is plus the 0, which is the 3. So first 5 years, first 2 and first 3 and next 3, which is 187. We divide this 187 over 430, you get the 43.5% as the FCI. Now, the second just saying when we think the building was built and when we think the buildings need to be replaced or demolished.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm just wondering, how did you arrive, how did you arrive at a cost for that building to be $430,000?
Yeah, so
Is that Toronto's numbers? Is that Perth County numbers?
no, so we do work. I didn't mention that we do work across Ontario, from Thunder Bay to Ottawa to Toronto area. So we look at prices based on areas, not standard. We have the box, that Hanscom box, that costing box, but we our company is kind of two division, one doing building condition assessment and other studies, and the other section of the company does actual jobs such as roofing, window replacement, foundation repairs, anything has to do with building envelope in general. So we look at actual job, how much. Let's say we did a job, roofing job in Kitchener, which is not far from you. So we look how much the roofing per square foot in Kitchener versus in Toronto versus in Ottawa. So the further you are from the center, like a major urban area, the higher the cost will be. So in Toronto, if you have a job, you find like 50 people, 50 company competing for it. Once you go away a little bit, you find less people competing for major jobs. Now, on the other side, small jobs, let's say small repairs, usually in out of town area are cheaper cost, because you get people that live there. Their overhead is less than living in, let's say, for example, I would take it again, Toronto area or Ottawa area, because the rent here is very expensive. The rent there is cheaper. So we look at each component based on our knowledge and the box. We have the box, that standard box, Hanscom box for pricing. We add it. So it's I gotta say that it's not a crystal ball, or it's not something like you get like a up to like a 2% difference. Our costing is tolerated up to 15%, 20% difference. So we've made something, we say it's 100,000, you may do it for 115 or 85. And that's, we, as again, with our background in construction, we understand that if you want to do work in the winter, you will find lots of contractor bid on it because they're not busy. If you want to do something in the middle of the summer, or let's say school work, then everybody busy with the school, you'll get higher price. So it all depends when you tender your job, in busy season or less busy season, based honestly sometime on the economy. If the economy is doing well or not. If everybody's busy, you're not getting cheaper prices. If nobody's busy, you find lots of people competing. So that's how we build our prices. First, as I said, we go to a building, we measure everything. So we have the square footage of any component, whether it's roofing, foundation, slab on grade, lighting, all that. Now let's say we go see lights with fluorescent or HID lighting, that's older lighting. We price you right away to replace with LED. And like if we see a furnace that's not high efficient, we price to replace with high efficient furnace. So that's how we do it.
Okay, thank you for that. I can't speak to any of the other facilities, but I know I just built a barn 4 times larger for under $300,000. So I have no idea where that amount come. But I thank you for that answer. One final question. This report we received is 29 pages that we received. How big is the actual report? How many pages?
Talking about the Excel is just one sheet. I'm not sure if you have that. I don't know if I can share my
No, we have
screen.
not received.
So the Excel is just one sheet. It covers all the components. So the sheet just go in heights. So whether you have like you go open playground, you find 5 items, 6 items. You go open the Kirkton Community Center, you find more than 100 items. So it all depends. It covers all the items from we start, as I said, we start from the structure component, and then we move to envelope component, and then we go to interiors, and then we go to elevator, if there's elevator, and then plumbing, HVAC. We go electrical, life safety, and equipment. So this is just a cutout of the mechanical. This is all these services, but it depends on the building. This sheet can go longer. So I think I can open specifically the Downey. So the Downey Community Center, it has 125 component. So versus if you open a playground, you see 4 or 5.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Councilor Marco?
Just want to drill down on the former municipal offices. They're about 1,000 square feet. I'm wondering how you arrived at a couple of the numbers. I'm also wondering how you got this condition to be fair, not in the good category.
So the former. Yeah, so this facility has water treatment equipment that feeding I believe the municipal office, the municipal office, and the public work next to it. So there's lots of equipment in the basement for that. Yeah. So first of all, because this has a basement, so the foundation cost is like close to 150,000 because it has basement, and there's addition to the building as well. These are the high costs for foundation and slab on grade and all that. The floor structure as well for second floor. We have the roofing as well. We have brick walls, which is very, as I said, it's getting very costly to do bricks. Less people do masonry nowadays. And if you see new buildings, they don't use bricks anymore. They just do panels for fast construction. So quite a few costs for the slab on grade, foundation, and bricks. And there are equipment. Yeah, there's metal roof mainly the cost here, close to 100,000 with ice dams, gypsum board walls, high cost, flooring, hardwood flooring in the building. There are aqua component in the, as I mentioned, in the basement. There's a water treatment system in the basement. There's water control panels for aqua. These, I believe, the major cost. There's a generator outside. That's also close to $25,000. There's asphalt parking lot next to it that also include in the cost. There's piping to the wall. There's a water wall, as I mentioned, and water treatment there. There's a ramp outside, free ramp that we asking. It was built recently, but does not meet code. I think we push it a few years. But yeah, there are wells. So there's few costs for wells and the septic system. So that's what. So a building like this as a square footage, I understand your concern. Like it comes as like a $1,300 a square foot. A building like this is usually 600, 700 max per square foot. But there's our costs include the site component, whether it's asphalt pavement, septic tanks, water wells, and again there's water treatment in the basement, which is not normal for an office building.
Okay. So what specifically pushed it to a fair rating versus a good rating? I mean,
that is what needs to be done recent. So there was renovation done on the main floor, and the equipment in the basement is fairly new as well. So there's not many costs needed. So the first major cost, I believe, in 32, which does not make it to the FCI, And that will be the UV bulbs for the treatment system. There's a UV bulbs that worth like $15,000 there. The cladding as well coming to be, but this most of the costs are past the first 5 years. So if you have a copy of the Excel, you can see how we actually added. We break down the cost from 2027, 2026 all the way to 35. So give you the first 10 years. But the Excel itself, it tell you each component when gonna be replaced. So there's a column called replacement year. It tell you that whether that it's happening now or later. So it goes all the way to like whatever the building gonna be replaced. I think this building we saying that 2050 can keep it. I know it's an older building, but it went through lots of renovation. So that's a kind of decision always need to be considered when you renovate an old building. You always end up with old building. So obviously, I'm not hinting anything here, but any old building you fix is still going to be old building. There's still a component that old. There's still accessibility challenges. I know accessibility may not be concern in certain building, but that's what trigger other municipality to keep a building or not keep a building, because you get to a building that you cannot make it accessible. Let's say, for example, even Downey, you have a second floor that you don't have an elevator. You can't get to second floor if somebody has special needs. So these are things that we don't, as I said, we highlight them. We don't make decision about them.
Okay, I don't really accept the fact that it's not accessible. We just spent $250,000 on that building to make it accessible. We also just repointed the foundation within the last 5 years. So your claim of the foundation not being up to snuff is not true. So I'm not understanding why we have a 1,000 square foot building at $1.4 million replacement value. And in the next 25 years, we got to replace it. And I mean, basically every inch of that building has been touched in the last 5 years. So I don't get that. Moving on, my other question is about the pool. You talked about the major renovations that has to happen at the Perth and Wooden pool. Can you just talk about that for a second, please?
Sure. So the pool I mentioned earlier, the pool basin is now waterproofed. So waterproofing. So I'll just can list for you the item that we think require attention in the first 5 years. So I'm going to talk about major costs at $15,000-$20,000 and more. So there's a retaining wall outside that it's deteriorating and need work at the stairs down there that leading to the parking lot. We have $30,000 cost for that. That's outside. We have the circulation pump that need to be replaced soon. It's corroded. Was full of chlorine affecting the pump. The chlorine system itself need to be upgraded. That's $7,500. The scent filter, we anticipating $90,000 cost for scent filter in the next 5 years. The lifeguard tower are older, do not meet current code, $10,000. The pool walls and the pool basin waterproofing, we estimating $80,000 approximately to waterproof them. The diving board are original or older. They need to be replaced. They're deteriorating. These are we're estimating $25,000 for that. The main switch is corroded and need to be replaced. Electrical. You have the boiler is the boiler is 13 years old and have corrosion, so anticipating the boiler going to also be replaced in the next 5. It's not energy efficient as well. The slab on grade in the pool, I believe, is always settlement and cracking. Sorry, at the decking. The pool, there's settlement and cracking at the pool. So we're anticipating $35,000 to repair that. So these are the major repair, and if we summarize this the first 5 years, it's $500,000. First 10 year, 5 year, public pool. Yeah, so that's what it is. So the total in the first 10, 5, and the 5 is, yeah, 350 and 160. So that's where the 5 is. So our report are available in details, and we're happy to discuss any specific component. And if, as I said, if you think that you can do work for less money, we're happy to adjust that report.
Yeah, I guess my main question was, do you have any accessibility issues with the pool?
Okay, so give me a second here.
I thought I heard you mention that in your presentation.
For the pool, yeah, so I believe there's no power door there. There's one power door only, but once you go inside the building, I think the change room don't have power doors. So accessibility means every door to get to where you want to get has to be power operated, sorry, very free. So main door, change room, anything that you do need to be accessible. I don't believe, yeah, so the men change room and women change room are not barrier-free doors. That's one. The service, I think the counter is barrier-free. Yeah, so the counter where we serve people at the front is barrier-free, but the doors are not. Yeah, the cubicle are barrier-free. The toilet are barrier-free. So technically, only the door to get to change room is not barrier-free, and I think that the door to get to the pool deck as well, because you have to get to the pool. So you have the two doors. Only the main door I think is barrier-free. The rest need to be barrier-free.
They're saying the 2 doors need to have power to them to check the box of accessibility.
Yeah, so you have to have every door, whatever any person with special need to go, all the doors have to be barrier-free. So the main door, the door to the change room, and the door to the pool deck. These are like kind of like 3 doors have to be barrier-free to get to make the facility barrier-free. Right, for accessibility for those, and it doesn't stop on this. So it goes, obviously, if you have a change room, the light should be on motion sensor so they don't have to kind of like all the light at certain level at like close to no more than like 3 feet 6 inch, then at where person in a wheelchair can reach.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Wellham?
Yes, I have 2 questions. One is the playground equipment. You have over $100,000 for both of the playground equipment. Is that for a rubberized surface for the playground equipment? And if so, are there not a lot less expensive materials out there that you could use?
You are correct on both points. So the high cost is for rubberized floor, which is technically running at $25 to $30 a square foot. Now there are more different options as kind of engineer would. I'm pretty sure your operation managers and recreation manager can come up with a solution that less costly. But as I said, we mentioned what we see, and standard is kind of like in other municipality, but there are other options, obviously. So you don't have to kind of spend this much money for playground. Obviously, also the area is large, as you see, like in this photo. So when we account for our floor, we account for floor everywhere. You see gravel here, it's be rubber floor, so kids can play not only around the playground but anywhere else, and then if they fall, they don't hurt themselves. So, but clearly, yes, there are other options that more economical.
Okay, thank you. The other question I have was, I believe I saw in the Curtin Hall, to change the lights over from the current lights to the LED lights was quite expensive. And is that more want than need?
Yes, I would say once and energy efficient. So that's a more to there's nothing stopping you from running fluorescent. Well, I gotta correct myself because in 2030, Canada as a country banning fluorescent in altogether. So for now until 2030, you can run fluorescent, but mainly yes, mainly energy efficient. So I don't have to kind of like say that, but LED running as like 20% or 15% running cost, operation cost than any like high intensity light like HID or incandescent, which is barely you can see nowadays, but even like a 2-3 times more efficient than fluorescent. But until 2030, you can run fluorescent, yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Councillor Jeff Bell?
Thank you for the presentation. Is it fair to say, and I think I heard you mention this at some point during the presentation, your pricing is based on the best standard, and not necessarily the only standard. I feel like there are, as you mentioned, with the chips or the rubberized for the playgrounds, you priced out the best option, but there are other compliant options available. Is that correct?
Right, yes, I agree with you.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Zach? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Zach, for your presentation. I have a recommendation that the council receives the presentation from Zach Solomon of ABSI regarding the Perth South building condition assessment for information. Moved by Councillor Corby, seconded by Councillor Vanessa.
Can we have a recorded?
Sure.
Thank you. I'll take over the calling of the vote. So when I call your name, if you could answer yay or it's supposed to be yay or nay. You can say yes or no. For the receiving the report for information. Councillor Martin.
Yay.
Councillor Jeff Bell.
This is just for receiving, yay, yes.
Councillor Vanessa.
I will say no because it has not been received by councillors, sorry.
Councillor Corby.
Nay.
Councillor Martel.
Nay.
Councillor Wilhelm. Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, sorry.
I'll say yes, but I would like to see all council receive the full report.
And Mayor Orr.
Yay.
That motion is carried.
All right. Thank you, Zach.
My pleasure. As I mentioned, if there's further question, happy to answer via email or a phone call. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilhelm.
Further to that, I would like to see all council receive the full report. I know it's a big report, but I would like to see council receive the full report. And the other thing I would like to see is that staff bring back a summary or recommendation on how we can move forward over the next couple of years, few years, whatever. And I'll pick on the works department buildings. I think there's over $800,000 in repairs and those. Well, should we be looking at a new facility? And I think I'd like to see staff bring back some reports and recommendations on those. And same thing with the Kirkland complex, get together with South Huron and see what we feel actually, or staff feels that actually needs to be done. And get an actual cost. I believe these costs are inflated and not current to our area for sure. And we don't necessarily need a Cadillac when we only need a Volkswagen.
Will, do you wanna?
Yeah, I think those are all fair points. Really just as an introduction to the report, we thought that the presentation alone as a standalone today would be a good first step. There's gonna be a lot of big decisions for everybody in the fleet to take as we go along. Picking up on what Deputy Mayor Wilhelm said, that's absolutely part of the plan. And it's going to take, as I say, the entire group here, working through that process. I think that this, information will dovetail nicely with some of those other decisions, as Deputy Mayor Wilhelm was saying, we have some other service areas that we'll be looking at. I think it's very fair to say that, some of the pricing, is absolutely adjustable and possibly to a point where some of these may be moot, costs to even discuss in the first place. So I think that's another important point. I think before moving on, and I'm not by any means going to rehash the entire presentation, but I think there are a few key things to keep in mind for everybody before we leave the topic. The first thing being, the purpose of this exercise is multifold. Okay, it's not just about looking at where's the buildings, how much is it gonna cost? Let's start running it and paying for the building. So that's definitely not the big thing. I think one of the key things certainly is for our capital asset management, we need to look at. And as staff, we also look at that too. So if there are costs that we've been given that don't necessarily fit with what we feel is appropriate, there may be adjustments made to that, but we need a baseline coming from somewhere. So I think that's a really important factor. I think further to it though, is really the FCI percentage. And that's the good money after that percentage, obviously, and how they look through that. I think some very good points, Councillor Mark Bell made some very good points. What's the difference really between the building that we would look at as good and one is fair? When you really look at that percentage, we're talking 2-3% between something being in one category or the other, which could completely be based on, again, cost that may not be 150% accurate until we go out and get a quote. We don't know that until, as I say, we put it in number and see what the pricing is coming in at. As Zach said, some of it's seasonal, some of it is how busy some of the contractors are. So I think that's important to remember as well. And most important, but I guess I would say when we look at it, if we think to the very big picture here, the good and fair buildings, for the most part, are, I don't know if it's fair to say sort of set it and forget it, but it is kind of a situation where we're gonna have little things that come up. The staff will say, hey, this year there's one window to replace, or there's some caulking to be redone, or there's a piece of eaves trough. That's really how we're looking at it. And I don't know that it would be the best value for council's time to really get down into those facilities, knowing that. I think that we can look at the big picture and see where some of our poor and very poor buildings are. Those are where the major decision points really are gonna need to be made. And I think then following up to the bottom line point that Deputy Mayor Wilhelm just made, we are gonna have to get into the weeds there. And we are gonna have to get the spreadsheets in, and we're gonna have to look at all those costs. And I think as part of that, possibly before even we get to the point of staff bringing back that sort of larger all-encompassing report, it may be worthwhile for the entire group to sit down and start to prioritize where do you want to put the efforts. Keeping in mind a good chunk of these, we're gonna be in a mutual discussion with South Huron on, right? So that's going to also be a process that we'll be walking through. But again, no doubt that that's an absolutely necessary process to come along. It's gonna look not only at the building, but what are the service needs as you've said. So, yeah, definitely wanted to make a few notes there before we just look at it. We're looking at the pure numbers. We're saying there may or may not be a problem with the number, and therefore there might be a bigger problem, maybe even with the study itself. I think again, the focus should be that it is a snapshot. It's something that as a group, we're gonna have to drill down into, and there's absolutely going to be additional information to come along. The numbers themselves, they're simply the rolled up spreadsheets. So those can all be broken out. If we want to debate how much does it take to caulk a window, fine. But at the end of the day, I think looking at the big picture was the intent of the snapshot today, knowing we would be absolutely going down a much longer road that all of us would be part of.
Do we need a motion or Bob's request?
I'll make that motion.
We were asking for a full report and a report is done without.
Recommendations and moving forward.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Malone, second by Councilor Marabell. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll get through a couple more reports and we'll take a break. Martin?
Thank you, Mayor Orr, members of the council. There were no new permits issued in January. However, there are several applications that are waiting issuance. I think cold weather had a lot to do with that. And I'm fully confident once the nice weather comes here, we're gonna have another good year. Might be very hard to top last year, but I'm looking forward to the spring busy season start. Some of the other things I've been working on, I hosted a CDO's meeting. The all Perth County chief building officials get together every quarter, just to discuss challenges and successes in their departments and how we can make things more consistent with Perth region. Another thing I did was CEMC, the Community Emergency Management Coordinators. We get together, everybody else in the county quarterly as well. So we did that in January. The RFT, we've had an opportunity to finish the RFT for the office renovations that went out. It was posted on our website and advertised in the local papers. The tenders closed on February the 12th. And I'm really encouraged by the amount of local interest we've had in that. So we'll have something further for council's consideration in the near future. Bylaw enforcement, there were 2 new bylaw enforcement complaints and 1 new property standards complaint. Have to answer any questions we have.
Any questions for Martin? Seeing none? Thank you. I have recommendation that the CBO update report for January be received for information moved by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Vanessa. All those in favor, any opposed, carried. All right, thank you. Scott. You're here today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Straight on.
Okay, we're moving on to the report for the drainage superintendent.
There you go. Well, it's nice to see everybody. Looks like I'll be here going forward to present this, so that's glad to be a part of that. I guess you guys received my report, your council package. We have a few items that we're working on with maintenance. Capital works, there's a lot of stuff in the design process right now, so, yeah, there's just the regular stuff, so if you guys have any questions, I can answer those or try.
Any questions for Scott? Councilor Vanessa.
Oh, just a question, the tribunal hearing. Tribunal hearing is the end of February. That's available for anybody to watch, or do we have to sign up for?
Any question was that? Okay,
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
No worries.
No, and that's okay, through the mayor, as far as I know, it's best if you let us know. This is my first tribunal as well. So I think, your people are welcome to participate as an observer. But, I don't know if the tribunal is live streamed like we would for the public, so, but, I'll make sure that you have the link available.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Scott? Councilor Parkin?
Where is the tribunal, how, like, in person, where is it?
So this is, it's going to be a video conference.
Oh, it's video,
Yeah.
I was on the first one, found it very interesting, but, hopefully we have a chance to be on the next one.
All right, seeing no questions for Scott, I have a recommendation of the drainage superintendent update report be received for information. Moved by Counselor Jeff Bell, second by Deputy Mayor, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. Right, I would suggest that we're gonna take a break, for a few minutes. And we'll come back in 10 minutes. 8.3, Deputy CAO Treasurer Tracy, you have the floor.
Mayor, so this is just the unaudited financial report at the end of December. And I have to say, going through the, I kind of like doing year end and budget parallel, because then I can see what hasn't been done in 25 or if it's missed. So, since I was working on the budgets, I think we're down to about maybe a $5,000 deficit, so there's some stuff that hadn't been invoiced. So like I say, this is unaudited, just kind of gives you guys a picture of where we ended up. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Tracy? You guys are all very quiet, so I'll give you a few minutes.
I tried to put in the notes just kind of what threw that area out on the budget. They're not all, like I haven't listed everything, but just some of the stuff that kind of threw us one way or the other. Something I said.
You'll ever be. He's engaged, so it's not for sure. Yes, Councilor Marco.
Just the mileage, do we calculate this differently? We got a lot more last year.
So that was a typo, it should have been fuel, but overall the fuel, if you, we added up all the vehicles, we were over budget by about 19,000 of fuel. So that would have to do a lot with the snow plowing and everything, and I'm guessing, so.
Yep. Thank you.
Councilor Purdy.
How do you see the municipal drain, the road crossings going for us, Tracy, going forward, like? We're covering them.
Yeah, we're covering them. We're also putting in a transfer to the municipal drain reserve annually, so that, because the reserve is picking up our capital. So the special assessment, and so the roads portion is obviously gonna be much lower, so it doesn't, whereas the culvert, the crossings are gonna be more expensive, so we seem to be doing all right. We just have to make sure we remember to take that into consideration when we're budgeting how many drains we think are gonna happen and what the road assessment's going to be, so. We cleaned up a lot of drains this year, Ken and I, we got a lot of grants reporting done and caught up on them, so I think 2025 got hit because we did some 2024 drains. I don't think we went back as far as 2023, did we? We cleaned up a lot anyway, so yeah.
It's pretty hard to predict, it's coming.
Yeah, we kind of knows roughly, and then we kind of guesstimate on what the road portion is gonna be, because it's based on assessment, right? So it's gonna be a little different for every drain, right? And
Councilor Vanessa.
For the biggest variance I see here is litter control. Could you just kind of go through that for us, Tracy?
right, so what throws out the a lot of these job costing is I have added a truck charge that is, it's no effect to the budget. It gets credited back to the main vehicle admin. But what we use is the MTO calculator rate, which they bring down what your insurance is per hour. And what your wear and tear on your vehicle, depreciation, everything is per hour. That's the charge we're using. And it's more for council to know that with the wear and tear on your truck, the insurance per hour, everything else, it costs you 400, almost 500,000 to snowplow. So it's not in the budget, that 250 for the truck charge, but it's something that costs the municipality that much on wear and tear for the vehicles, you know, the plow slides off, whatever, any kind of wear and tear that's gonna happen to your vehicle. So it's more of an accounting exercise, but it also gives council a truer cost of, you know, you got that grader sitting there, it's not free. So this is what it, per hour, that's what it costs you. So the guys now on their timesheet, they put how many hours they were in the vehicle, and then I just do a journal entry to that. And Ken and I we're using the MTO charter rate, they have a whole list of vehicles, and then you pick the one that yours is, and that's their. They don't update it very often, I think the last time they changed them were 2022 or something, I can't remember.
It updates annually, but some don't change.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause I don't think the one I used in Dutton had changed for many years, but yeah, so, yeah, anyways.
Councillor Nuts?
Yeah, that makes sense for fuel and depreciation, but insurance actually gets cheaper the more you run it. We're not paying insurance by the mile, are we?
You pay it by the year, they break that year down to hours,
Right.
yeah, so that's all I
Right,
charge
but-
per.
But if we say, the one grader costs us $5,000 a year, the numbers are relevant. And we don't use it all year, it still costs us $5,000. We put one
Right,
house on it.
But I don't expense it if you don't use it.
Right, well, you have to pay for it.
Right, but this is just when it's being used and you're wear and tearing it. So yeah, I agree, the insurance goes
Yeah.
like one line item, but then when I say this MTO rate, which has everything in it, is if we were to actually split our insurance per year by minute, that would be a little harder to do. So yeah, it's just and like I say, it's not affecting our budget, it's just more of a, this is what, if you had to contract it out, you'd probably be over that, so. So.
Any other questions for Tracy? Okay. Being none, I have a recommendation that the Council of Township of Perth South receives the report from the Deputy CAO Treasurer titled Q4 Unaudited Financial Report dated February 3rd, 2026 for information. Moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Jeff Bell. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Just going forward, how often do you want to put that report out?
Good question. Through the mirror, or I can do that, like, if the council wants to see it every other month, or
Quarterly?
I mean, is quarterly okay, or, yes. Okay.
All right, so now the report, 2025, the annual building department report.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the annual report that's legislated to be brought from council, so it's for your information. For basically ties up every report Martin has brought to you to 2025, and where his reserve is sitting, the interest he's made, and that kind of thing. So if there's any questions, I'll get Martin back in here.
Any questions regarding this report? Councillor Vaness?
Just one question, so on the second page here, appendix A. We've got revenues over costs of almost $110,000.
Mhm.
And then we wanna move roughly $101,000 into reserves. Where's the other $8,000 going?
The 8,000 is in the reserve, but I broke it out, it's interest. So he earns interest off his, he has a GIC,
Oh.
that where some of his money's sitting, so the
Okay.
101 is operating, and then the other is his, interest he's making, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I have a recommendation of the Council of the Township of Perth South receives the Building Department Annual Report 2025 for information. And further that the treasurer be authorized to transfer the 2025 Building Department operating surplus to the building permit fee stabilization reserve. Moved by Councillor Vanessa, second by Councillor Corby. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question? So right now we have approximately 4 years built up of reserves. So if we didn't have a building permit for 4 years, we could pay our building official, is my understanding, correct? Does this go on for perpetuity, or I'm just curious?
Through you, Mayor, it won't, because, first of all, I think the revenues are gonna die down. Second, we are planning on spending because, we are going to use this reserve to pay for the new office that's gonna be out here, because it's gonna be Martin's, so that's gonna come out of this reserve. And also, I think that's something we could look at once, yeah, go down, when it starts going down, but, you know, Martin always uses that excuse that, can't remember now which municipality said, but their, building inspector either left or got hurt, they couldn't find anybody, they depleted their reserve in a couple of years, so you gotta wait, but once or twice, yeah, no, it's a good question, because it's money sitting there, yeah, so, I think maybe after we figure out what the office costs and where we're at next year, it's something that maybe council can decide what they, if they wanna cap it or what they wanna do, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Here, item C, the report for the streetlight transition to general levy. Thank you, Meryl. And Councillor Jebel has stepped away.
So this is just, I wanted to bring this to council's attention and maybe can get their, thoughts on this. If we're going to do a special levy, it has to be based on assessment, it can't be a flat rate, so, I just wanna get, it's $19,000 on the tax rate, and whether we'd be if council wants to consider just putting it as part of the tax rate. I think you could look at it this way, that every Perth resident gets a benefit out of having a lit hamlet to drive through, especially when there's kids about. If we're going to leave it as a special levy, we're going to have to do it by people's assessment or frontage, more like a local improvement, which is, could end up costing some homeowners a lot more than others. But this is just up for debate. I just thought before I finish the budget, if this is something we want to consider. If this was ever, a complaint would be made, this kind of system would be non-defendable in court, but, if it's also council's wishes, so.
Any question? Councillor Martin.
First, I'd like to thank you, Tracy, for always going ahead and making sure that we're doing everything right. So all of that effort is appreciated, keeping us on the straight and narrow and checking all this stuff. Though I'm hoping maybe we can get a little more information before we make this change and put it to the general levy. A couple things. One, I couldn't find our streetlight bylaw. Like, it's not on our public website, whether we have one. Also, when I looked around and I read the municipal act, and I'm by no means any sort of an expert on this.
Yeah.
It does read to me like if you're in a special designated area, you can do that.
Right, but it
So-
has to be based on assessment or rate, it cannot be a flat fee.
But there's several municipalities in Ontario that are doing
Right,
that.
and if somebody called them out, they would not be able to defend it for it.
It's, yeah, so I'm just hoping we can maybe get a little bit more clarity on that, because, whether my house is worth $1 million or $100,000. The light that's out of the road is the same, right? It's not that light is more valuable to me.
Right.
And the other thing is, part of why I have a little concern with this is a few years ago, a couple residents ran to us and said, we cannot have streetlights in our village. And we had to go through the upgrade system, which is part of the municipal act, and it would be divided amongst the people. And then they would decide, as a village, there weren't enough people that moved forward, or as a hamlet, so we did it. Now, if we say that the lights in this where are we? St. Paul's are of value to all ratepayers by safety of driving through a hamlet. Now we have to light all of our hamlets, because why does this group have a right to lights that maybe Rannick doesn't? So I just think that before we put this as a change things and go municipal levy, like we just look at it a bit more. That would be my concern.
Well, you can look at it, but the only way you're gonna be able to do it is based on assessment, so. If you want to follow municipal act, and I'm okay either way,
Yeah.
that it's fine, because it's the way it's been done, so, it has to be treated. Like a tax rate or any other thing, it cannot be it cannot be a flat fee, so everybody's not, I think you could go down to even doing it by frontage, same as if you put underground in front of somebody's house, it would be based on frontage. So, I mean, somebody that's got huge yard is gonna pay more than somebody that has a very small. So you could even do it that way if you wanna keep it separate. I'm okay either way, so before I start the budget, I wanna know for $19,000 on the budget, it just seemed like, I think everybody probably gets a little bit out of those lights, so. Is it worth being complicated? So I don't know, it's totally up to you guys, so.
I completely understand what you're saying there,
Yeah.
but when we spread it across everyone, those of us who live outside the village are paying for our own lights, and people have the benefit as.
I always go back to gravel roads, it's not fair that if it's $700,000 on the tax rate for gravel, when half the people who are down gravel road.
Oh, for sure.
So, you know, you have to weigh.
I 100% get it, I just think we're moving really fast on this by making this change. I don't let other people talk, sorry about that.
I agree with Council Martin, and perhaps we need to take a look at, a policy of what warrants streetlights in a hamlet. Because, as indicated, we did have a group want to put lighting in Rannick. However, there was not enough support to pay for that in Rannick. And if it's going to be paid by all of the ratepayers, then why couldn't they have streetlights in Rannick or wherever, Prospect Hill or Woodham or wherever, and what determines it? So I think we should have some kind of policy in place before we move forward with this.
Councillor Martin.
To that point, is there guidelines, maybe Ken can speak to this, is there guidelines like on a population basis or area basis of what warrants streetlights and what doesn't?
Nothing that I'm aware of. Other than individual policies that one said by councils, or I'm sure there are probably sample policies that might, include something if there's sidewalks for whatever, but not for, there's no specific that I look into it and see.
So then it would be up to each municipality, not the provincial government or anything at our level.
I believe that would be your decision.
Our decision, okay, thank you.
So what is the feeling of council? I believe you want to defer this till we have more information.
Yes.
Can I make that motion? Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. All right, Lizette. Do I need to? Just about the information.
Thank you, Mayor Wilhelm. So last week we had our community policing advisory committee meeting, and we had a delegation from Prospect Hill there who had some concerns that he was raising with regarding traffic. Discussion at the committee. So we received a petition, and discussion at the committee was that recommend to council that we work with the county, as it is the county road, to maybe install some signage as a starting point. And they spoke to the policing services to see about getting more presence there once in a while. So, but their first concern was that they recommend that the county consider putting signage in to avoid the use of engine brakes. So if anybody has any questions, we also have our members of the committee here who were part of that discussion, so we can add more to it, but that's basically what they're looking for as a starting point.
Any questions? Councillor Corby?
I assume there's a lot more aggregate trucks going through Prospect Hill.
And that's what the discussion
Issues.
Yes. And right now, through the winter months with construction season slowing down, there has been a slowdown of that type of traffic, but it seems to be that traffic has increased in the last few years.
Councilor Markgraf?
And can I speak to other points on the report? Or are we just talking about the?
Let's finish this one and then, well, no. So any, I think what the committee was hoping was that this council would send a letter to county council and request signage. And they are, seeing like the gravel company or whoever is using the road, if we went to them directly, they may work with us a bit better, but that would be a county decision. So letter of support. Okay, I'll read that off then later.
So, yeah, my motion was just to receive the minutes, because generally these minutes are in the consent application, the consent agenda.
Yeah.
So I've just made my motion to be a two-part, where you receive the minutes and then, also do the recommendation, but if you want to have further discussion about the minutes, we can do that.
Yeah.
I just had a follow-up question about anyone that was at the meeting. There was a question asked about the federal buyback, gun firearm buyback program. Did the chief indicate when they were that was, he says he noted the decision has not been made yet. Did he say when that might be made? Did he indicate it? No, okay.
No, so basically, there, a lot of the larger centers in the GTA and so on, they're not participating. And they would closely, the police work closely with the Waterloo region, so they have not made a decision, so they're kind of basing what the Waterloo region is going to do, but he didn't have a timeline.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions, Councilor Jethro?
Just want to thank Councilor Vanessa for bringing that to CPAC. Because that is something that's very concerned, so I'm anxiously awaiting the response from Chief Skinner.
Just follow up, my understanding, please, anybody who was there, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding, what Chief Skinner said to us is that even if they do not participate in the buyback, when this becomes legislation in October or November, people who have those guns are not within the law. So even if Stratford does not police and come and grab your gun, technically you are not law abiding. Let me say that. I think that's what I heard.
I would agree with you on that one.
Thank you.
I think you gave an example of, if your parents died and had a gun and had all the papers and everything, and then all of a sudden you inherited this and you didn't even know. So there's, seems to be quite a bit of that out there. All right, so no other questions, our recommendation of the council receives the Community Policing Advisory Committee minutes January 28th, 2026 for information, and further that council approves the recommendation for the Community Policing Advisory Committee to bring the Prospect Hill petition concerns per county and to request the installation of a bold use of engine brake signage. Moved by Councilor Jethro, second by Councilor Vanessa. All those in favor? None opposed, carried. Will, we are 8.5. Your report.
Well, thank you, Mayor Lord, and members of council. First off, this was a tremendous exercise for me to work through, and I appreciate the opportunity. I think that not only learning a little bit more about the municipality in my first couple of months, working through this exercise, there's a lot of the information that I was able to glean to help me to work with you folks as we make some decisions. And I would even work in the presentation we had earlier today with the building condition assessments. I think a lot of that fits with this information, which is also going to fit with some of the other program and service work we're going to be doing over the next little while. First thing I guess I would also say is that PERSIV is not unique. It is very, very common in small municipalities that have multiple shared programs and services. Sometimes a municipality may be on the selling side, and sometimes the municipality may be on the buying side. I would say for Perth South, for the most part, we are on the buying side of programs and services. And that's gone on for a number of years. And I don't disagree that that path was traveled. I think that that's the most appropriate route. For many, many years, I have been a huge proponent of shared services and programs. Other people like to talk about amalgamation. I do not. I think in that process, not only do you have a program or service that is probably going to cost you a little bit more money, you're losing your governance model when you amalgamate. So I've never been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of looking for shared programs and services whenever there's a difficulty that arises. A lot of the agreements here do go back a number of years. A lot go back even pre-amalgamation in 1998. So I think that's another consideration we all need to make sure we're aware of as we walk through not only this exercise, but further exercises and discussions we have over the next while. A lot of these agreements and arrangements we have took years to ultimately get to the point where we're at. There's a long history. There's a good history, and at times we've had to tweak to make it maybe more what it's like today. And there's other things that we still need to continue to tweak. And definitely I'm speaking to a few of those items here in the report. Now, I will say I didn't look at every possible program that the municipality is involved in, and I didn't do that for a few reasons. First off, there are some arrangements we have that have multiple partners involved. And from my experience, as well as from what I'm seeing with Perth South, I think if you want to remove yourself from some of those arrangements, you're probably going to be operating it yourself or looking for a partner that is well within or well outside the boundaries of Perth County. As well, I would need to do a much deeper dive into those arrangements to even look at what those alternatives could be. And I've listed a number of shared programs and services that would fall in that category, many of which we work with the County of Perth on. Some of the other ones, we like the benefits consortium. I was actually in Perth County the first time when the consortium came along. That was an excellent arrangement that came about. I can tell you that immediately off the bat, the township was saving money and is much more involved in the benefit process. So I do have some firsthand experience with that coming to Perth County in the first place. Blue water recycling is another example. That would really take a drilling down. What would your other alternatives be? Again, it's been a number of years that the township has been involved with blue water, and that would take a lot of time to figure out what a private contractor would be, where does the final waste end up going. Obviously, it wouldn't all be appropriate to end up down at Brannock, so we would have to really figure out an alternative, and that would take a lot of drilling to do. So I didn't go into detail on any of those, although certainly able to if people do want a deeper dive into those things. And the last important thing I guess I'm going to mention, and it kind of sets the tone not only for this report, not only for future programs and services we may want to speak to our neighbors about or other contractors, not only for maybe discussions we're going to have with our neighboring municipalities who work through things like the Kirkton Woodland Complex, things like the Bill Blanchard fire arrangement. We have to keep in mind that keeping a positive relationship as best as we can through the circumstances is going to be paramount. I'm not one to look at a problem and barge in and blow something up if we don't have an alternative coming out the other side. We need to be very slow and methodical as we work through some of this stuff, and I'm not saying they're easy decisions. There's some very big decisions the entire group around the table is going to have to be involved in. But it's important that we try to maintain a positive relationship as much as we can. With a lot of the relationships we have, they took years to develop. And I know firsthand that some of the very quick moves that you just take for granted can tear a whole system down almost instantly. And I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to have those discussions. And maybe we get to the end and we do have to sever a relationship. But I would hope we could work through the discussion process before we ever get to that point. So getting into my comments then, I did print off for everyone a separate paper copy of the Appendix A. I can appreciate that it will be difficult to flip back and forth. This is really where the detail of the report comes from. I'm not going to walk through every little last item here. Certainly able to answer questions, knowing that everyone has reviewed the report, of course, ahead of the meeting. But again, really tried to break it down, firstly, by program service, what the purpose of the arrangement is the arrangement required? And in some circumstances, they aren't. Some of them it's highly recommended that you would have a relationship, but there may be opportunities if you're not content with having a relationship at all. We may be able to look at that further as well. Look at who the partner is, where the arrangement or agreement is at, some of the benefits and challenges of this type of arrangement that we may be in for a particular service, what the approximate annual cost is. I've tried to list a couple of other options, or at least one other option for each of the items. And then, of course, my recommended next step, like municipality would go. So with that said, that's really where I've gone with the wording in the body of the report would be my recommended next step. So I'm gonna work through all of these individually though. And so for sidewalk snow removal in Seabury, Perth East is responsible for clearing their half on the north side of number 8, and it makes a lot of sense for us to work with Perth East for them to turn around and go back down the street the other way. That arrangement has gone on for a number of years. It would be wise to formalize that. There is significant liability when you do get into snow removal. So my suggestion is that we do have a discussion. Doesn't necessarily have to change anything tomorrow, but we should have a discussion with Perth East and see if we can better formalize that. And I think that would be helpful for them as well. With our boundary roads, generally everything is in check. A number of our arrangements have actually been updated in the last couple of months. And the only things to keep in mind here, we do have a road rationalization report that will be coming through for the county, which will make some changes to the boundary road arrangement we have with moving it all for Whale and Line. And as well, it may lead to some further discussion to open up an agreement with Stratford as well for both Line 32 Lauren Ave, Road 122 Lone Ave, as well as the potential for Line 29. Most of our building official services reciprocal agreements have also been updated in the last couple of months here, 2 or 3. And my suggestion at this point is just to leave that as they are fully. We don't lean on them often, but it's an excellent insurance policy we have in place for times when Martin may be away from the office, or if we got into an unseasonably busy time for the building department, we could lean on those services, and again, not needing to hire additional staff. At this point, for your canine control services arrangement with the Humane Society, I would keep that as is. It's a very good service. It's not a very costly service, and we can certainly trust that the dogs that are picked up will be handled appropriately. I don't have any concerns as well with either of the arrangements we have in St. Paul's, either for the Optimus Hall. That's running very, very well. In fact, I would argue with my experience with a number of rural municipal halls, that's probably the best private party arrangement I have seen, and it functions very, very well. I would suggest that one, you would make no changes unless you are absolutely obligated to do so for some reason that I can't foresee at this time. Equally with the soccer fields, what a blessing that is. That's an opportunity to have an immediate extension to your recreation plans. And you don't have to buy it, and it's really, as good as the services required, which is also a very, very good arrangement. It's not something you're signed on for the next 100 years for the sake of being signed on for 100 years. So very, very happy with that as well. We do have some work at Kirkton Woodard for the complex. I think most of council is already in the loop on that. We will be having a joint council meeting. It's rescheduled from last week, but that'll be coming up. And definitely some things to work through. As the report sets out, I would say that your primary step is really getting a proper governance model in place for the complex, ultimately with the goal of having that governance model for the complex as a whole. I think followed, you want to try to get some sort of proper day-to-day operational process in place over there. There are some bits and pieces happening on the property right now with certain groups doing certain things, and it would be nice to maybe have some consistency there. And the big picture, and this now flows back to some of the information we learned earlier this morning and discussed regarding our building condition assessment. In that there's going to be some longer term planning for the facilities on that complex, as well as other areas, of course, but certainly at Kirkton Woodham, there are some decisions to make over there. Again, working with another partner municipality, also working along with the community. So that's going to be a process. I think that's the best way to say it. That's going to be a process to work through. That's not something that an individual can make a decision on. And even as both councils come together, there may be some community input that's required as well. But again, a foundation for a long-term plan really needs to be set for Kirkton Woodham. And I think flowing nicely from there, the same would apply to the fire services. You've done a fire master plan and community risk assessment already. Those are tremendous steps. Those are steps that really do set the tone. Where are you at and where do you need to go? And a lot of the information from both of those plans now are going to be very, very helpful as we look to, in particular, some changes that may occur with the Blanchard, Bill Blanchard fire station or fire department for Granite Station. There's going to be some decisions that need to come out of that as well. So that would be definitely one of the first priorities for the Bill Blanchard Station. We'd be looking at what are the next steps we need to take. I would say with all three stations, we need to develop some consistency in our service agreements. Some of them are a little bit older than others. And I think legislation has changed. Different departments may be operating, while they're operating the same, while they're performing the same function, they may not be doing exactly the same service at all times. So we need to make sure we're consistent there, who is offering what. And the other big thing that came out of the fire master plan was looking at community safety officer or fire prevention, public education officer. A discussion does need to occur there. At this point, my suggestion is to speak with Perth East. They have a structure in place. They do have some fire prevention officers that are already in a structure. They are providing service at this time to West Perth as well in that regard. And I think as a first step, having a discussion with Perth East is the best way to go. I think that that will be very helpful to certain areas of the township as well that maybe aren't covered quite the same way from a response service. And over and above that, definitely that service could be invaluable to Martin as he reviews a lot of his building plans. A lot of the code does have sections around fire related items. So that's the thought for your fire service arrangements. Library, you've just been through that process and no need to make any changes at this point. Police services, again, changes can be made as I noted there on 24 months written notice. So you really do have the opportunity at any time to reconsider your option. At this point, I don't have any concerns, but again, just letting everyone know. In terms of solid waste, again, I didn't drill down into blue water, which other options could be if you wanted to see another option. So really focused in on your household hazardous waste arrangements that you have with Stratford and St. Mary's. And at this point, our arrangements are almost identical, but ever so slightly different, if I could say it that way. The arrangement we had with the city of Stratford was a 3-year arrangement, looking to move that to a 4-year arrangement because we are due this spring to sign a new arrangement. And have already been in discussion with St. Mary's asking if that same arrangement could be there, and they've suggested that yes, that could be available. So we can tie both arrangements up in 4-year arrangement under agreement. And that's my suggestion that we work through this spring. Maybe small in the grand scheme of things, but also a really big deal to have an opportunity for our residents to have an opportunity to drop their household hazardous waste off. It doesn't end up in the ditch or in the back 40, far, far better. And the last area, again, we just entered into an arrangement with Aqua for water system services. Suggestion is obviously keep going down that road. That agreement will come due at the end of 2030. I have listed as well a number of other opportunities should the situation present itself, should legislation change, should our circumstances change. We could look at some other areas. I can tell you right off the bat, bylaw is definitely on my sooner than later radar. Looking for potential opportunities there. But there's a number of other opportunities. Should it present itself, we can have a discussion, maybe it fits, maybe it doesn't. But again, we can be open to some of those other alternatives. So on that note, no other main points to make, but again, just to reiterate the fact that my personal approach is going to be about the relationship first. And no doubt there's going to be difficult discussions, difficult decision making to make. That's not really where I'm saying I want to back out of anything. I know where those points of contact are going to be made. But again, it's about approaching the relationship and trying to make that as positive as we can if we're going to hope to make the best opportunity available for the township as well. So definitely open for questions.
Questions for Will, Councillor Gordon.
I might be wrong, but are we owners of Blue Water Recycling? We are. Yeah, okay. Right. And the other thing is it does worry me about the cost for essential services like police and fire. The costs, there's no way to control that, I guess. I mean, I think when Stratford came on, our first contract was for 550,000. The number there is 860 now. So is there any way to control those costs a bit in a new agreement? Probably not.
Probably not. There's a lot, and it wouldn't matter. I think we need to be honest with ourselves. The option is either Stratford or the OPP. I mean, setting up our own police services is very, very difficult to do. Technically an option, but highly suggest we don't go down that road. Most policing models are based on the fact that you have X amount of overhead, and then you're gonna have calls for service. And the calls for service are either up a little bit or down a little bit. I think you do have some advantages in that, yes, there's other services that also work on a rolling average to make sure that those, you know, if you have a spike in the calls for service based on an incident or something like that, it doesn't necessarily affect it. The reality is, those calls for service are going to be there. It's a very expensive service. The nature of the calls are changing. Anybody who obviously has sat at Policing Advisory Committee understands that too. A simple call years ago is a much more complex call now. So trying to control costs is very difficult with your services, and fire is no different. You can't plan on fire, and you know, obviously the goal is not to have any fires at all. you want your prevention and the work that's done to try to not have it, first take control, and we just simply don't have those options. So, yeah, when that truck rolls, it's expensive at the time.
Any further questions on Will's report? Councilor Net?
Just one question here, in my mind, it's the mission on boundary roads, how are we dealing with St. Mary's?
I think what I would say at this point is we appreciate the question. At this point, we do not have an agreed upon boundary road with the town of St. Mary's. I think I would go back to my paragraph in the report on the background that it's important to maybe not only maintain relationships sometimes it's important to develop relationships. And I think further discussion can occur when that sort of circumstance happens. I think there may be the potential for other discussions to occur, given that there are other related road discussions occurring. At this time, that we might be able to open up a discussion again, but at this point, that's not necessarily an opportunity we have sitting in front of us.
Thank you.
No other questions? I have a recommendation that the council accept the shared contracting program and services arrangements report from the chief administrative officer as information. Moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Corview. All those in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Any correspondence? No? Nope. We are on to council reports. As noted, there's 3 of us that attended Roma. I have noted in other municipalities that this has become a bit more common that councillors that attend do a brief report just to show the value in going. So, is there any questions for the 3 of us on those reports? Okay, seeing none. We are on to bylaws. Oh, yeah, I'm generally asking everybody. Councilor Corview.
Oh, no, everything's good. I have a mobility bus tomorrow. And I think they've got the, I talked to Amber today, they got the car up and going, or it's supposed to be going. It was quite a process, so yeah, they're pretty happy. So I'll have more tomorrow. So, that's it.
Councilor Marco.
You're very quiet.
All quiet.
Councilor Martin. Councilor Jeffo.
Just a couple of things in addition to my report on Roma. I had the opportunity to attend the Intimate Partner Violence panel in Stratford Thursday night. It was even though I've worked with Emily Murphy Center and Optimism Place a fair bit over the past few years, it was quite an eye-opening experience. And additionally, this weekend, I had the opportunity to listen to Premier Ford at a convention where, just going back to the federal firearms buyback, where he absolutely withdrew Ontario from it completely and just called it an attack on turkey hunters without dealing with any criminals. So it was nice to hear some of our provincial leadership talk about that.
So Vanessa?
Nothing for here.
Yeah, you'll see, I've been extremely busy lately. But I think you'll be a full report next time around. And there's a county council meeting this Thursday again, so. Okay, I have a recommendation that the bylaw 425 be a bylaw to amend the township of Perth South zoning bylaw for the property located at 5655 line 6 be given first, second, and third readings, and the property signed and sealed. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, second by Councillor Corview. All those in favor? None opposed, carried. We have a recommendation here, being a bylaw to authorize the Ontario Transport Payment Agreement Pothole Prevention and Repair Program between His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Honorable Minister of Transportation and Corporation of the Town of Perth South, be given a first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. And we are at announcements.
All right, then that's, on the back table are the budget liners. Did home as homework. And, I guess we also wanna know, we're thinking a special meeting, a date line one, so we can spend, like, go through. I know it's better for council to go line by line, maybe not line by line, but, department to department, so, just want to get your thoughts on maybe setting that meeting.
So would you like to have an additional meeting in February, or do you want to try to do it at the next meeting? It is gonna be easier every single time, but Councillor
I
Corby,
think it needs to be a meeting on its own, it's too long.
Okay.
Added on to a meeting.
any other? So, we looked at the calendar, sorry, go ahead.
When did the joint, meeting get rescheduled? I don't see it on the calendar.
The next Monday, they're publishing the agenda tomorrow. But
Okay, can you do a calendar thing, cause I don't have it.
Sure.
At least. So, I just wanted to get that.
But when it was canceled, it was pushed to the ninth, but.
Yes.
It was, but I didn't do a formal calendar invite.
So next Monday night then will be a Kirk Day. We were talking last night about February 24th. And it would be up to council, day meeting or night meeting. Is everybody available?
Suppose it could start late afternoon, or like.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Tuesday, I mean,
Yeah.
totally whatever works with you.
24th, okay? Can you do a day meeting? Okay. No, Councilor Martellus and his travel.
Yeah, I'm around, I'm not around on Monday though, the
Okay.
night doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Also, are we getting invites or for these meetings? Did that go out or am I?
I try to do them quarterly. I
Okay,
don't do them all at once.
okay.
That's an extra service that you guys get. You don't know that.
I don't have any, so,
I will double check, but I'm pretty sure you're on them.
is there one?
I-
Let them know.
I got hacked over the Christmas holiday and I have learned the hard way now that I have separated both of my personal email and my personal email. But my calendars are already separated too, so I don't know if that has affected anybody else, but I have to look at both calendars. It does not come from my first south into my other calendar.
Okay, usually it does, and I only have one meeting on March 4th. It's my only meeting that I have in there, so maybe mine's not glitched or something
Well,
happened.
maybe I
Anyways,
left you
I
on.
just thought I'd.
That was subconscious, I don't know.
I'll call you the day before.
Did you get-
No, no.
Are you getting your accounts from me?
Yep.
Okay, so that's good.
I may have just missed it one.
What do you
So February
not use the
9th
council one I set up?
is at 6:30.
6:30 or 6, so that's 6.
Yeah, but whatever.
I think it's,
Okay.
I'll double check. I'll send out a calendar invite today.
The 6:30 one got canceled. Even though it's 6.
Alright. So then our next regular council is going to be February 17th at 6:30, and then we will have an additional budget meeting on February 24th at 9:30 a.m. Right?
And to further that, I think as you go through it, if you've got questions, send them to me by email, and what I'll do is I'll consolidate them, because you guys all might have the same questions. And then I'll either send out an FYI, just for information, thoughts on the numbers you're asking about, or just so that I'm not answering everybody like 3 times on the same question, I can consolidate the question, because I'm sure you're gonna go through them and ask why this is this and that's that, but. And right now, there's no streetlight budget in there because I didn't know how that was going, so I will just do the streetlight budget as normal. And I'll just email it to you and you can stick it in your binder, so. Okay.
Any other questions? And announcements, no notices, motion, oh, go ahead.
Just, one question, Sue. I believe the county is having a meeting next week, a public meeting for the tree bylaw.
February 12th.
And do you know what time that is?
I'm assuming it's 9 AM.
Think so. And that's in Mitchell?
Mitchell.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, could we, because we're adding, we've changed the meeting schedule to add a meeting, we just do a motion to, adopt the February.
Motion to add a special meeting regarding budget on February 24th, moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, seconded by Councilor Corby, all those in favor. Carried. Okay, no notices of motion, the other business, the 14.1, the Perth Games Night proposal. Mr. Jamie Ryan.
Okay, thanks, team, for letting me add this idea. If you read our roll reports, there, the last speaker was speaking on loneliness, and I just got thinking, like, what can we do? So we actually had the first games night last night, because if we don't adopt this as something of council, I believe in it enough, I will do my best to make it happen. Graciously, the Downey Optimists have given a very reduced rate of $100 for the evening to open up games night. We had about 20 people there last night. What I learned is the first Monday of the month, while it may be Digital Detox Day, is also very busy. And every AGM for every other group seems to be on that this month in turn too. So, and it was maybe a bit early for some of our farmers. So we learned some things. What I brought this forward to council is, it did seem like it spoke to what we talked about in our strategic plan. And looking at our demographic, we know we have a lot of residents that are living by themselves, which increased chance of loneliness. I would say about a quarter of the people that were out last night were people who live alone. I would also say 95% of the people that were there are Perth residents last night. So I'm hoping for council support. It's early days, like we could do a pilot of 4 times a year. I would ask for maybe a budget of like $1,000, whether that comes out of wellness or whether it comes out of some other community building recreation. I'm open to any questions or feedback.
Any questions? We have to get the rules about Mexican train down, but.
Well, what we learned last night is 2 or plays every game differently.
So student events their own.
We did have students there last night, so it's nice to give an opportunity to some of our young persons.
Yeah.
People to get out and talk to different generations. They were all 4 from different parts of Perth.
Yeah, and there was the youth aspect as well, which I thought was encouraged. 15 man.
Were you thinking to change your night? You said the first Monday of the month, so issue, and would you do more in the winter and not try and concentrate any on the summer type thing?
I kind of wondered whether this is better as a quarterly event. Right, where you hit maybe January and May and September, and like where you skip those summer months. Like this is a very broad idea. If there wanted to be a group that wanted to get together to figure out what's better for the community. Last night was a little bit of throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see what's stuck. Yeah, I don't think we need to do monthly. This is proposed as monthly. I don't think we'd have 3 people there in the summer. It would be just me and my kids that I made come set up. So.
Do you want a decision on the money right now, or do you wanna, can we engage that in when budget time?
It would be helpful to know, I would say more personally, whether I need to, I have a bill from last night. So whether this is something that council wants to support or whether it's a personal thing, I just would like some direction, whether this is something we're interested in or whether it's outside what we feel our duties are.
Councilor Markov?
Speaking of, from someone that's been very critical of the wellness money, I don't think there's anything more important than this speaks to wellness. So if we have wellness money and we all say that we should have wellness money, then this should be the thing that it goes to.
I'm okay with that. I think it's gonna get covered. And if it also doesn't get covered by this, I'm on your, for funding it. But, when it comes to budget, one of the questions I have is I can see some discrepancies in what we give to certain other groups and we don't really give anything to the Downey Optimists. So maybe if we had a bit more of a partnership with Downey Optimists and gave them a grant, then we could have some things covered with the, Kate and with the games night. And then they would have dependable funding from us. It would even us out for what we did the others. I'm just throwing it out there. That's why I was trying to defer the question till we all have the budget. But I'm okay with it from the other ones.
I'm also okay to cover it until we discuss it.
If you're okay to cover it till we discuss it, then I say we should hold the till we see the bigger picture on all of the money that we give out.
I just want to say one thing. Great job.
Oh.
Yeah, great job. That was a fun night last night. Everyone had fun. Everyone was engaged. It was very good. So good job.
Thank you. Councilor Corbin?
I like your idea, Sue, and if it covers the activity night and what Jamie's doing, I have no problem with it. It's a good organization, and if it'll cover the rent for the year on some of this stuff, and the optimists know what they're getting every year, if it's dependent on the amount we want to do.
Mhm.
I think it keeps it pretty clean, I think. Yeah.
All right, so we'll have that
Yeah.
discussion when we have the budget. We don't try to, so. Okay, I have a recommendation in front of me that the bylaw 6.226 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution of the township of Perth South, be given first, second, and third readings, and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Ness. All those in favor? None opposed, carried. And the meeting adjournment. Meeting goes adjourned at 12:01. Moved by Councilor Mark Bell, second by Councilor Ford. Thank you.